What's good, everybody? Hope you guys are doing good. So we are back today for another video. In this video, I'm going to go over the stimulus check update. It's been a while since I put out a video about it. I've been waiting because there's been a lot of news coming out, so I figured right now is a good time to compile everything and give you guys the latest on where we're at with this whole stimulus thing that we're all waiting for, because our leaders are on vacation. Remember, guys, they go on vacation, they stay on vacation. So it's summer recess, they need their break because they've been working very hard to make sure things are going well. So let's get right to it, guys. Hopefully also you filed your taxes, you was okay. Hopefully you got a CPA, because a CPA was probably the best thing you could do, because they're going to know your situation and know what works for you. All right, let's continue. Will I get a second stimulus check? Answers to your stimulus check questions. All right, let's see what we got here. Hopefully there's good news. Hopefully they're back from vacation. I swear, every time I read something, they're on vacation. Mitch McConnell said he expects debate to begin next week on one last economic relief package. Here's what that means for a possible second stimulus check. Alright, so number of bug cases are spiking in the country, even forcing some states to reclose certain businesses. Many are wondering whether Congress will come back from vacation and pass a second round of stimulus checks. Over the next several weeks, Congress seems poised to pass one more major economic relief bill, with Republicans and Democratic leaders indicating more direct stimulus for Americans could be involved. Under the CARES Act, which we've gone over, Americans receive $1,200 per adult and an additional $500 for each child for individuals making less than $75K and couples making less than $150K. The HEROES Act, which the House of Representatives passed in May, would have authorized another round of payments, but the Republican-controlled Senate deemed the $3 trillion proposal dead on arrival. In order for another round of payments to get into the hands of Americans in the next few months, Congress will likely have to come together on a compromise and send it to the President in the next week before Senate goes on a planned summer recess. So they got another recess, guys. It must be nice, I swear. Like I said, I don't know anywhere where you go on your recess or your break and you still got work that's got to get done. It just baffles my mind, guys. This is really ridiculous. All right, let's continue. So what's the timeline for the check? July 20th, the U.S. Senate returns from a recess that began on July 3rd. So these guys had 2 weeks vacation and a couple days. Steve Mnuchin told CNBC, as soon as the Senate gets back, we're going to sit down on a bipartisan basis with Republicans and Democrats, and it will be our priority to make sure that between the 20th and end of the month that we pass the next legislation. Okay, so that's what they are currently hoping to do. I think you could anticipate this coming to a head sometime within the next 3 weeks, beginning next week. Now on July 31st, look at this. That's a great picture. Nancy Pelosi. All right, let's not start that rant. Let's continue. On July 31st, the U.S. House is scheduled to begin a more than 1 month recess that would last until just after Labor Day. Nancy Pelosi on Tuesday she said she absolutely willing to delay or cancel that recess in order. Yeah, right. I don't believe that. If someone says, "Yo, go take a vacation," who's gonna delay it? Come on, are you kidding me? I don't believe this. All right, the timetable is a timetable of the American people needing their unemployment insurance, their direct payments, their assistance for rent and mortgage forbearance. Pelosi told CNN, "We need it for states and localities to be able to pay their employees who are meeting the needs of their constituents." Okay, so that's the update from Miss Nancy, and that was on July 31st, and that kind of sounds decent, right? It's not bad. I mean, she wants to delay this whole recess thing to help out us, and we could definitely use that help. So that seems okay. All right, Nancy, let's see what else we got. So on August 7th, on the other side of the Capitol, McConnell has made it clear that he is less willing to delay the Senate's planned summer recess, which is scheduled to begin on August 10th and last until September 8th. Another month. We're gonna have to wait another month. This is crazy. McConnell told reporters on June 30th that we're going to stay on the schedule that I announced earlier in the year, which means we will not be here in August. Of course not. It's vacation. It's recess. you get away from work. They're not going to want to work. Are you kidding me? And they got no competition. Who's going to compete with them? They're the ones who decide when a stimulus gets passed and how much and if it gets passed. There's no competition. There's no need to really be above and beyond, right? So let's continue. Now, September 8th to September 25th. If Congress... Okay, this is important, guys. Pay attention. For those of you watching other things online, this is important. So, stay tuned and pay attention. If Congress can't come to an agreement before August 7th, and if the Senate goes on its summer recess as planned, then this 2-week period in mid-September would be the next shot lawmakers have at passing a bug bill. Did you guys catch that? Okay. I know I talk kind of fast, so let's try that one more time. If Congress cannot come to an agreement before August 7th, which is less than a month, and if the Senate goes on its summer recess as planned, then this 2-week period in mid-September would be the next shot. So these guys better figure out what they're going to do, if they're going to do something. And if not, we're going to have to go all the way to September before the holidays for something. When could a second check be sent? As of July 14th, when a second stimulus check will be sent, all depends on when legislation is approved. Okay, so the IRS is back in the news. The IRS did a lot of the setup work during the first round of payments. There's a chance a second round of checks could be sent out faster. Okay, that's good news. And let me know in the comments below, guys. Those of you who qualified, did you not get your check yet? Because people I've talked to, mostly everybody who could get it has gotten it. So they got a nice little check. However, the IRS is already... Okay, so we went over that. Let's continue. That being said, nothing will be sent out until Congress comes to an agreement on a stimulus package. With the Senate not returning until July 20th, there's a chance for the IRS to start issuing checks in August, but the window for that is shrinking. That's not good for those of us who need the checks. So this is also something... Okay, this is a good point too. So I was reading, as I was doing my research, that they first suggested those making less than $40,000 a year would be getting the checks. And McConnell said, I think the people who have been hit the hardest are people who make about $40,000 a year or less. Many of them work in the hospitality industry, so that could be part of it. Nancy Pelosi, she pushed back, which is good. I salute you for that. I think families making over $40,000 probably need assistance depending on the situation. So there's that as well. But yeah, if they're going to do anything, if they're going to send checks, you got to include people who are making over $40,000, because if you're making 50, 60, 70, 80, 90 after taxes, after all your bills, cost of inflation, being out of work, it's really not going to do you a whole lot of good at that point in time, even if you're doing slightly under 6 figures. Alright, so what else could be in the next bill? That's important too. McConnell has said more economic relief packages must have liability protection to help doctors, nurses, hospitals, businesses, and schools for the next 5 years, because after this is all said and done, guys, it's going to be at least 3 to 5 years till things kind of normalize and stabilize and pick up to where they were. That's just a prediction. I could be wrong. Nobody should have to face an epidemic of lawsuits. He also said he hopes the bill has emphasis on kid jobs and schooling as well as healthcare. Senate Democrats proposed $430 billion education stabilization plan, but the Republican leaders have not said how much Congress is willing to spend. Okay, so my thoughts on this really quick. This sounds good. $430 billion education stabilization plan. However, with these kids doing their whole thing online at home, I would think that cuts your costs quite a bit. You don't have to have a teacher right there all the time. You don't have to pay for the building, the electricity, all that stuff. So that could be definitely a good thing, and kids are more comfortable at home. And right now with the whole bug situation, this could be a benefit. Just have everyone has access to online, the internet for the most part. And if you don't, just go to a library or something, if libraries open up, or find a neighbor who can let you use their internet. But this is a lot of money to spend on education, and as we know, we already have crazy amount of debt for college students, and we're spending a lot of money on regular education. And you be the judge. People you interact with, how well has education done for most people? Again, I'm just putting out there, you decide for yourself. Alright, let's continue. Mnuchin said the program will be fixed so people making more money more working than being on unemployed. So that was a big thing, guys. So let's say, for example, you make 500 a week, right? 500 a week. That's not bad. You're doing okay. 500 a week. Now, what they had proposed, well, what was actually passed, was you got 600 a week federal pandemic unemployment compensation. So if I pay you $600 to stay at home and do nothing, or I'm going to pay you $500 to do work you probably don't enjoy doing, which one are you going to be doing? Okay, it's pretty simple, right? So you're going to get that $600 for not doing anything because you're unemployed. So if you're unemployed making money and it was more than you're making before, what's your incentive to really go out there and find a job and try to do something, right? I mean, the incentive isn't there, guys. That's just a fact. It's not an opinion, it's a fact. So if we want to get people back in the workplace, they're going to have to do something to help incentivize people. That's kind of what the Republicans were proposing, to help to incentivize people to get jobs and not rely so much on the handouts. In addition, a bill could provide continued eviction protection. The original CARES Act provides a temporary moratorium on evictions for most residents of federally subsidized apartments, including those supported by HUD, USDA, or Treasury, for 120 days after enactment. That means the service would end July 25th, 2020. So I like this site a lot, not just because it's WUSA 9, so it's like a CBS or something, but just in general, they really gave a good breakdown of the timeline. And that's what I've been reading on the news, guys. It's been pretty crazy how much things are changing. And with the whole vaccination probably coming soon, trials at least, it's going to play a big factor into people's sentiment on the economy, if they're going to want to spend, and what is going on. So I'm not going to be too redundant here. So here we go. So this one says a second stimulus check could be smaller because they want to have a $1 trillion cap. But the president, of course, wants a larger check. Well, of course he wants a larger check, guys. It is election year. He wants to get reelected. People are struggling. So why not, instead of having the $1,200, if you have $2,000, or how about my proposal? Let's have $5,000. Why not? I mean, we're already spending money, right? $5,000, $10,000, $20,000. Why not? Let's just go to infinity. It's gonna help your chances of getting reelected, right? That's just a fact. $1 trillion is okay. That's an interesting starting point, but it doesn't come anywhere near what we need. We need $1 trillion for state and local. We need another $1 trillion for unemployment insurance and direct payments. We need something like that, but probably not as much for the bug testing, tracing, treatment. What doesn't measure up is, it can only be $1 trillion. The final figure is anything but decided, and the tides could turn. The tides probably will turn. How much could you get? So let me give you guys a breakdown here. And at this point, they've had all these different proposals, and you've probably heard them a million times, so we're going to move on. Now, here is some good news. Senate stimulus check income limit will likely be higher than $40,000. So we got another site. This is Forbes. Forbes, I guess, is somewhat reputable, and that's probably what most people want to hear. Why 40,000? 40,000 seems like an arbitrary number. So here's why they picked 40,000. According to Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell, 40% of U.S. households earning less than 40,000 lost their jobs in March. It's a staggering figure that looms even larger when you look at our unemployment charts. And these are pretty significant, guys. As you can see, after the crash here in 2008, unemployment skyrocketed a little bit, and then 2010, 2012, it started to kind of taper down, and we've been doing pretty well, guys. Unemployment has been dropping, people have been finding work, and then once this bug kicked in, it basically, the 1 in 100-year event kicked in and basically wiped out a lot of people's jobs, and it's a tough time for a lot of people. A lot of people are struggling, so it makes sense why they would want to have that limit. But on the other hand, it makes sense to people who are making over 40,000. They're probably struggling just as much because, like I gave you a breakdown, it's really not a whole lot if you have family and kids and mortgage and car payments and this and that and debt. It's not going to do a whole lot of good for you. It's just a fact. So who would be eligible and when could it arrive? Negotiation. So basically, like I said, guys, it's confirmed. The news seems to be pretty decisive at this point. They're going to continue in a couple days. And who would qualify? Looks like between 40 and 75K. Americans probably receiving 1,200 to maybe 15 or 2,000. It just depends at this point what they're going to end up doing, and they don't know the details, guys. And I guarantee you by tomorrow, something for a fact will change. Now the last thing I have here, second stimulus checks may be in legislation next week, but how much you get could change. Alright, so that $3 trillion healthcare economic plan, 40,000 cap, according to Bloomberg, isn't likely to happen. And let's see, Trump says right here, I support actually larger numbers than Democrats, but it's got to be done properly. I want the money to get to people to be larger so they can spend it. I want the money to get there quickly and in a non-complicated fashion. Now what about national debt, guys? So that's another factor. Republicans are concerned about national debt, which has sharply risen to 22 trillion in February to more than 26 trillion this month. It's pretty crazy. I remember back in the day, I was in high school, guys. I had to do a little video project, and the national debt at that point I think was 12 or 13 trillion. And me and my buddy were, he was freaking out, like, wow, 12, 13 trillion, that's a lot. But no, look at this, 22 to 26 trillion. That's a lot. So it just goes to show you that you think things are bad, they get a lot worse sometimes. And in this case, they did get much worse. And over here, it kind of has it's like a calculator you can fill out to see what you could receive depending on how much you've been impacted, how much you could be getting. It just depends. If you have kids, if you have a family, if you got mortgage, if all these different factors, guys. A lot of different factors. Alright, guys. So I think I'll leave it here for now. Those are the main updates for the stimulus check. If we get more updates tomorrow, I'll get you guys an update on that. And yeah, I think that's about it for now. I'm going to leave it there for now. I will give you guys a stock video later on breaking down the stocks and all that good stuff. Anyways, thank you for watching. That's going to be this video. As always, if you're not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. And if you liked the video, don't forget to give it a like. Until next time, peace.